The evening before my sister's wedding, I settled into the spare room with a heart full of warmth and an unfinished card for her resting on the bedside table. For weeks, I'd poured myself into preparations, coordinating the food, arranging the seating, and even stitching a last-minute fix on her rehearsal gown. No one asked me to give a speech, but I brushed it off. Being there was enough. At 3 a.m., I jolted awake, gasping. A searing pain burned across my cheek. Then my lips, followed by something warm and wet, the sharp taste of blood. Disoriented, head spinning, I sat up and saw them. My parents loomed over me. My sister's silver centerpiece in my mother's grip, my father's hand clenched. Mom didn't blink. That's what you get for trying to steal her thunder, she spat. Good luck posing for photos with that face tomorrow. I choked out, what? What are you saying? Dad chuckled, like I'd asked for the punchline of a cruel joke. You should have stayed out of sight. But no, you had to wear that makeup. Linger too close to the groom's family. You're nothing. Just a shadow. I tried to stand, but pain blurred my vision. My lip was split, my eyes swelling fast. Stay down, Mom said icily. You already ruined the rehearsal, just by existing. Tomorrow's her day, not yours. I stared at them, the people who'd raised me, who'd soothed me through storms and read me bedtime tales. They exchanged a glance, then raised their champagne flutes, remnants from the rehearsal dinner. To flawless moments, Dad toasted. One less problem. Their glasses clinked. I crawled to the bathroom, locked the door, and flipped on the light. The mirror made me gasp. My cheek was swollen red, a jagged cut above my brow. Blood trickled from my mouth. I looked like I'd been attacked. I couldn't tell anyone, not yet, not there. Clutching a towel to my face, I curled up on the cold tiles. I didn't cry. That numbness scared me more than the wounds. I felt hollow. By morning, my sister pounded on the door. Don't you dare make a scene. Don't ruin this. Mom's voice joined in. Come out. Put on that plain gray dress we chose, or leave. I opened the door. They flinched. God, my sister muttered. What happened to you? Before I could speak, Mom cut in. She probably tripped. Always so clumsy. Then, leaning close, she hissed, no one will believe you over us. She pressed a concealer stick into my hand like a warning. An hour later, I stood at the back of the church, my face bruised and caked with makeup, a ghost among the guests. People glanced my way, some curious, some concerned, but no one asked if I was okay. During the vows, Mom whispered, smile. At least act like you belong. Dad snickered. She's lucky we let her come. That's when something in me split, not shattered, but cracked, precise and sharp like a blade's edge. They thought I'd shrink, fade, vanish. But I was done being their backdrop, and I knew exactly what I'd do next. The next morning, sunlight pierced the thin curtains, stabbing my skull. Every pulse in my face throbbed. Moving my jaw sent a sharp sting through the split skin. My reflection was worse, purple bruising under one eye, dried blood at my mouth's corner, a scratch curving down my cheek like a cruel mark. Downstairs, laughter drifted from the kitchen, the kind that pretends all is well. My father's voice boomed, big day for our perfect daughter. Nothing can spoil it. Mom chimed in, I made sure of that. My sister's giggle followed, light and smug. I sat frozen, gripping the bed's edge. Anger built slowly, shock, confusion, disbelief, then something colder than fury. I stood, splashed cold water on my face, and wrapped a scarf over the bruises. At the breakfast table, Mom looked up with a staged gasp. What happened to you, she said, loud enough for the caterers to hear. You should have watched your step in the dark. Dad sipped his coffee. Clumsiness must be genetic, he muttered, eyes glinting with fake humor. I wanted to scream the truth, to yank the centerpiece from the trash and slam it on the table, shouting, this is what you did. But I didn't. I knew how fast they rewrote my story, how every bruise became my fault, every tear a bid for attention. No one believed the unseen daughter. So I sat silent watching. At the lakeside venue, sparkling with chandeliers and white roses, I stayed on the fringes. My sister, radiant in her designer dress, glided down the aisle with Dad, the same man who'd nearly broken my face hours earlier. Mom beamed, whispering to guests, Both my daughters shine today. Pitying glances came my way. They thought I'd fallen. Or maybe I was jealous, crying myself swollen. No one asked what really happened. They never did. At the reception, while champagne flutes clinked, my sister's husband toasted my parents. "You raised the most incredible woman I know," he said. The crowd applauded. Dad raised his glass, eyes locked on me. "To family," he said with a smirk. "Even the ones who try not to ruin the pictures." Laughter followed. My stomach churned. Mom leaned toward a group of women, her voice carrying. She used to be lovely before she let herself go, always chasing her sister's spotlight. Their giggles cut deeper than the bruises. Then my phone buzzed. A text from my coworker, Lena, the only one who'd ever believed me. "You okay?" She'd noticed me leave work early for the wedding. I replied, "Not yet, but I will be." For the rest of the night, I moved through the crowd like a shadow, collecting every cruel word, every smug smile. I watched my parents dance to jazz, clinking glasses, whispering, "Finally, something perfect." That's when my plan took shape, not loud vengeance, but something sharper. They worshipped appearances above all else. Their pride was their currency, spent at church, at gatherings, at dinners. "Our flawless family," they'd say. So I decided to take it from them. During the newlyweds photo session, I slipped into the bride's suite. My sister's phone lay unlocked on the vanity, next to her lipstick. One tap revealed everything. Her texts with friends, her fiancé's bachelor party photos, flirty messages with the wedding planner. Secrets buried under champagne and pearls. I didn't send them. Not yet. I just took screenshots, time-stamped and precise. Then I grabbed Dad's phone from his jacket, never locked. Hundreds of messages with officials, suppliers, shady deals, fake donations propping up his career. Mom's helping hands email folder held years of pleas using my photo, claiming I was sick or jobless to scam relatives, while she called me worthless to my face. By the reception's end, I had everything. That night, they toasted again in the living room, glasses clinking, music playing, my sister's laughter echoing. I stood in the hallway, face half lit. Dad raised his glass toward me, mocking. "Smile, darling. It's done." Mom added, "You'll never outshine her, but at least you didn't wreck anything." My sister smirked. "Guess that centerpiece taught you something." They laughed. I smiled, a calm, unsettling smile that stopped Mom's laughter cold. They didn't know that by morning, their perfect image would start to crack. The files were uploaded, email scheduled. For the first time since childhood, I didn't feel small. I felt alive. I didn't sleep. Not from pain. I'd grown used to that, but because I wasn't afraid anymore. The house, once a cage, felt temporary, like a set ready to collapse. At 5 a.m., I left my room quietly. The living room reeked of champagne and wilted flowers. Half-empty glasses cluttered the table. My parents sprawled on the couch, still in their wedding attire. My sister dozed in an armchair, shoes off. I watched them, 3 people who live for appearances, not truth. They thought they'd won, silenced me forever. They didn't know their obsession with image would undo them. Earlier, alone upstairs, I'd worked quietly. From my laptop, I'd set 3 anonymous email drops for 9 a.m. One to Dad's clients with his shady payments. One to Mom's donors with her fraudulent emails. One to my sister's in-laws with screenshots just suggestive enough to spark questions. Not chaos, but truth. At 8:30 a.m., I packed my bag. My face throbbed, but I didn't hide it. The bruises weren't shame, they were proof. I went to my son's room, touched his shoulder. "Time to go, love." He blinked awake. "Where?" "Somewhere warm, where no one lies to us." He nodded, trusting me fully, the way only a child who's seen too much can. We left before anyone woke. The cold morning air felt clean. At 9 a.m., as we waited at the bus stop, my phone buzzed relentlessly. Notifications from Dad's clients, Mom's donors, my sister's in-laws, all demanding answers. By noon, Dad's office was chaos. A client leaked his deals online. Nothing illegal on my part, just truth they couldn't spin. Mom's charity site vanished by afternoon. My aunt posted her scam emails, outraged. My sister's honeymoon was canceled as gossip about her text spread. None of them contacted me. By the second night, Dad sent one message. "You think this changes anything?" I replied, "No, it just proves nothing was real." Then I turned off my phone. Weeks later, my son and I settled into an apartment above Lena's bakery. She didn't pry, just left a blanket on the couch and said, "New beginnings don't need stories." I started managing her books. My son made a friend at his new school, coming home with a drawing of us under a bright sun. "Mom, you look happy," he said. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. 2 months later, an invitation arrived, no return address. A photo on thick paper showed my parents in their half-empty living room, auction signs outside. My sister sat beside them, face streaked, expression vacant. In Mom's handwriting, "Happy now." I pinned it to the fridge, not for spite, but to remember. Happiness wasn't their fall. It was knowing they couldn't touch me anymore. One evening, Lena found me on the porch, watching the sunset. "Think you went too far?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "No, I went just far enough." She smiled. "Good. Don't linger on it too long. Even justice fades if you dwell." I looked at the horizon, light grazing my fading scar. It wasn't ugly. It was a map of survival, of rebuilding. A year later, I opened my own cafe, part bakery, part art space, named Mirror and Mercy. People asked about the name. I'd smile and say, "Because both can shatter, but only one reflects light." My son laughed with a warmth I thought we'd lost. Sometimes, passing a newsstand, I'd see my parents' names in small print, their scandal lingering. They toasted to perfection once. Now all they tasted was regret. I didn't ruin them. They did that themselves. I just held up the mirror they'd broken against me, steady and unflinching.